Alright, our unboxing for today is Warmachine High Command. Pretty exciting. You'll notice right away that it doesn't have any of the Bodger logos on it from their Bodger series of games, which is more of a beer and pretzels type of game. So this is straight up just branded with Warmachine. So this is going to be a strategic deck building game, a lot like Dominion and Ascension and those kinds of games where you do your deck building inside the game as opposed to a living card game or a collectible card game where it's outside of the game. So you don't have to have a lot of pre-knowledge and pre-setup. You can just jump right into this game. So let's do a quick unboxing and open this up, see what we got inside. So inside, we've got a color rule book and some nicely sorted decks of cards here. And you can see that they're already planning ahead on being able to categorize and organize these cards a lot better. Now I've already taken off the plastic wrap on these, but I'll pull these out and show you. Basically, you have to do a lot of setup in the beginning to sort all the cards, but what you've got is you've got the four basic factions, the original factions, which is Crix, indicated by the symbol in the upper left here. And see, we've got some Cygnar, protected of Menoth, and I'm sure there's going to be some Khador in here, not in this particular stack. Oh, some Khador right there at the end. So what we'll do is we'll take these cards out of the box, set them aside. You can see they're all mixed in here, so we're gonna have to sort these once we get them all out of the box here. And these paper dividers we can just set aside. They're just for shipping and keep the cards from sliding and slipping around. And we've got some more here. And lastly, put that aside. We've got these here. So set these down just for a moment. Alright, so the rule book, going through here, you'll notice right away that they've kept with the first four original factions, Cygnar, Khador, Protectorate, and Crix. The set contains 89 cards of each of the faction decks, a deck of 15 location cards, and those are the things you fight over in the game to get the victory points, and then Winds of War cards, which are every turn there's a new Winds of War card that basically gives a little something unique to every round of the game. Whether it's a buff or a bonus or some sort of event. So the first couple pages are just a bit of fluff and background to warring and the land of Immoren. So really nicely laid out book here. Large images, shows you all the elements of what the cards are here. Like I said, there's the faction symbols here. I'll go over the cards in just a second, but this is basically your resources here, command and war, and actually war stands for Warjack in this game. So your command points are used for bringing out of the battlefield your warriors and your units, whereas the war or the Warjack resource brings out your Warjacks. And you'll see that the cards have a cost called purchase down here, and rush is a way to get your card out into battle faster without having to go to your discard as soon as you buy. Like most deck building games, when you buy your cards to build your deck, they go right into your discard, and it takes a bit to go and cycle through your deck. But if you really need something out in battle to fight for location, you can spend a few more command points and rush them right into battle, which is kind of cool. So it goes through the rest here. So you've got army cards, warcaster cards, and in this game you actually play with 3 warcasters during the game. There are more than that per faction, but you choose 3 warcasters. It's one of the little things you get to do building your deck going forward. The Winds of War deck, so for example, warrior cards gain +1 health this round. That allows for that round something a bit unique to happen. You have to consider that during gameplay. And then you've got your location cards. Location cards in this game, they're equal to the number of players that are in the game. So if it's a 3-player game, you'll have 3 location cards you're all fighting over at any given time. Really well illustrated, showing all the cards and what the board's going to look like. If it's confused about anything, just look at these pictures and go, okay, here's the reinforcement deck, the army deck, the reserves, your hand. You can see the 3 warcasters that you have at your side, waiting for a final strike. And your location cards go in the middle of the board here. Got a couple of examples of gameplay on battling and taking the locations. Basically, in this game, you take a location if you have 2 or more cards than any other opponent that has cards or armies at that location. but it's not as easy as that because they all have battle points and you're battling over the location. This is also how you get your victory points. Location cards will have, for example, this one has 4 victory points. Once you've successfully captured that, it goes into your deck. And you'll notice it has resources that as you rotate and shuffle through your deck, it has 2 command and 3 war resources. So it becomes a resource, but also at the end of the game, it's going to give you your much needed victory points to win. So there's really only a couple of pages of rules here, really fast to go through. And then a nice common terms and sort of a glossary in the back of the book that you can just grab and don't even have to flip the pages to. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll take a little closer look at some of the cards that come in here and some of the anatomy of these cards. So when you first get the game, you'll just take a look at the faction icon and just make 4 big stacks and put all the factions and sort those aside. In this particular case, this is a Flame Guard Warrior unit. This is the command when it's in your deck. It's nice about this game has dual purpose for all the cards. You discard this card during your turn and you gain 1 command point, which allows you to then purchase a card that's in your reserves, and you have at any given time 4 cards face up in your personal reserves to purchase into your deck. There are starting cards, there's some basic resource starting cards that everybody gets. They're the same, just like in Dominion, how everybody has the same basic resource cards in the beginning before you start buying the good cards and the unique cards for your faction. So in this case, he's just got one. This is a Temple Flame Guard Phalanx, and he's got a 1 power, which he uses in combat, and he has 2 health, which determines how long he lasts when somebody's attacking you at a location. Down here, you'll notice 2 color bars. This is a detachment color. In your army, it's going to come with 6 different detachments, and you'll sort those aside. So, for example, you'll see that there's a Khador red detachment, green detachment, blue detachment. And what these do, you sort these into piles, and depending on the warcasters you take, for example, here is Lord Terminus from the Crix. You'll notice that he has 2 color bars here, an orange and a purple. So if you take him, you can take either an orange or purple detachment, and there'll be several cards in that detachment. So because you're taking 3 different warcasters, for example, that I can take a blue or red, having Goreshade the Bastard in my deck. So here could be a potential combination of warcasters for my faction, and you can see the different colors of detachments that you can take. So you have some choice to build, which gives it a unique feel. You can really play a lot of different ways each time. So some of the warcasters, you'll notice that they don't have a purchase cost because these are always in play and always available to you, and they only get rushed into battle when you need them most. The unique part about this game is once they're in a location and you win the location, location comes back. Show you location. Here's a location card. The location comes back into your deck and becomes resources as well as victory points. However, any of the army, the warcasters, or the units that were at that location that took it get taken out of your deck, placed aside, because they are considered to be holding that location. So a couple more examples. Sometimes there are special text when you capture a location. For example, when you capture this location, you can shuffle 1 Warjack card from your discard pile into your deck. So this is the Steelwater Flats. It doesn't have any command resource, but it has a ton of Warjack points to bring your Warjacks into play. Another card here is an example of the Winds of War. These are sort of like, I would consider them an event deck, and they stay out for a round. So at the beginning of the round, the first thing you do is you flip the Winds of War. Let's see this one, and you'll notice that there's 3 levels of Winds of War. There's an early, a mid, and a late. So you shuffle those together. The late will go on the bottom, mid in the middle, and the early will be the first ones you draw from. Some of them don't have anything, just some fluff text. This one has the cost of the first card you purchase this round is decreased by 2 command or 2 war. That's huge. That's a big escalation round coming into play. The cost of the first card you purchase this round is decreased by 2. Same card, Requisition. So there's 2 of those. And Fresh Recruits, warrior cards gain +1 health this round. Okay, to give some lasting power and so forth. I believe there's about 15 of these Winds of War cards that go throughout the game. So here's an example of a warrior card. You notice he's part of the blue detachment. He gives 1 command, 1 war resource if you discard him on your turn to buy things. Pretty cheap to purchase, 3 command. You can rush him into battle at a location, and of course the good text, the meat and bones of the game here. So for example, after you attack this location, opponents with cards remaining at this location must discard 1 card. Not too shabby. So you can see there's a lot of different options for deck building for this game. Here's a Helldiver Warjack. As he has 2 power and 3 health. Part of the green detachment. So it'll be interesting to play and see how this goes.